All right, you've seen them everywhere, and they're popping up on rooftops everywhere. Solar panels, what is it to you? What can that mean to your monthly budget? And how do you get there on your brand new home that you just bought? Today, we are talking to co-founder of SolarLink, Daniel Lynch.
Hey, I'm Nate Carver, and welcome to Between Two Doors.
Welcome to the Between Two Doors podcast.
Excited to be here. Thank you for the
Hey,
invite.
awesome. Well, Daniel, this will be a fun one. I get this question a lot when we're writing loans and we're finding out if a property has solar panels on it or not, or if a buyer or a homeowner now is interested in bringing some significant relief to their monthly bills. Solar panels, the technology's there, and so like it's there now. We had to wait and wait and wait, and you got some great stuff to tell us. Gonna ask you a bunch of questions on this for our audience, and so here, the first one right off the bat, kind of want to get everybody to get to know who you are and a little bit about you. Um, Tell me, a little bit about your journey and how'd you end up getting into the solar panel industry?
Uh, Nate, I appreciate you inviting me on. The solar industry, I've been in here in the industry for almost 8 years now, and I've just seen kind of like the average American mindset um, essentially kind of begin to morph where a lot of people used to think solar was super expensive. They had this belief that it does make sense eventually. And so I'll wait until the perfect time to pull the trigger. And so a lot of things have changed with these lenders that allow families to benefit from solar day one under the terms of their roof getting a lot of sun and and then them having a financially like good history. And so I got into the space because electricity literally relates to everybody. It is the only time we really need it is whenever we don't have it. And so there's been this phenomena where people are realizing how important electricity is. A lot of families have generators and things, but it's really become an interesting part to getting mortgages and managing finances and just knowing how the economy and the landscape has changed. And so I'm excited to be here on the podcast with you, and I'm looking forward to sharing value from what the pros are, what the cons are, when is a perfect fit, and when is it maybe something to avoid.
Nice. All right, we're going to dive deep into that. So, um, was there a specific moment when you realized in the solar industry that it needed some more honesty or transparency?
Yeah, lots of door-to-door guys out there, and there's a legitimate need for it. So there's been moments in my career where I've noticed that people have been told all of the upsides, and no one really shares the potential things to look out for when considering solar. And so there's definitely a checklist and a series of questions I believe every homeowner should go through when understanding and learning solar and whether their home's a good fit for it. And so I definitely recommend, yeah, just grabbing a checklist during this podcast, listening, writing some notes down, and being willing to like make sure that your home is in fact a good fit for it.
Okay, what might it be some things that have caused confusion in the past when people are considering solar?
Um, Realistically, I mean, sometimes when when a solar guy or girl is out knocking, like they're really just trying, regardless, even if your roof was super old and your house was built in the 40s and you need maybe some electrical work on your home, there's instances where where installation companies will just put panels on your roof. They don't really care how old your roof is or what condition it's in. And so you certainly want to make sure that you are aware how much electricity your home uses. And for example, if your wife were pregnant with triplets and you knew you were going to be expanding your household, and next year, next month, tomorrow, you were going to be getting an electric vehicle and you had plans for a swimming pool in the back because you just purchased this home, then like those are great things to share with your solar advisor as you're looking into it so that you can think about what future needs, what are your demands? Do you
Mm,
work from home or are you what are the rules with your utility company? And so it's good to have somebody in your corner that, of course, wants to get you the product, but of course needs to be able to articulate what your utilities rules are. Do they pay you for the extra energy that you produce? Is your roof in good condition? And you need to think about these things before you just sign up for a cheaper bill. And a lot of the door-to-door guys, they've created a sense of like, well, just go ahead. It makes sense. Just go ahead and do it. And a lot of homeowners, they have that like, I know it makes sense, but what about blank? And so
uh-huh.
that's the good part. That's where people really find some peace is when they look into it. The more you look into it, the better it usually gets. You just got to do your due diligence.
Right. Is there, when you first meet homeowners, is there one thing that stands out that's possibly the biggest misconception on solar?
Yeah, most people really think like the overwhelming majority of Americans think like, man, I just don't know if I'm gonna live in this house long enough to benefit from this because
Mm-hmm.
2017 and under, like all the way down to the year 2000, it required a down payment. You had to be fiscally responsible, maybe put 10 to 20% down. And so you would like did this like algorithm of like a spreadsheet to see if it pays for itself. And what's
Yeah.
fascinating and one of like the reasons that I'm so passionate about this industry now is that as long as someone on title of the house is above like a 650, they can have it installed and structure a payment plan or a subscription to where it offsets, trades the money from your current electric bill, and oftentimes is more affordable than what you're already paying to the electric company. So it's not free like sometimes ads and stuff look online. It is structured in a way that's literally less every month, every year than you're already paying to the energy company. So it does make it relatively easy to say yes to, but people still have questions. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
homeowners are like, man, I just like they have this resistance when I meet with them because they're under the presumption that it's going to make sense in like 3 years or my bill's not that big and like they feel like it's a big deal to go solar when the reality is as a mortgage loan officer, when you think about renting an apartment for 30 years, that's a big deal because that could have been a 30-year mortgage. Now you own the thing. And so that
Yeah.
same attitude we apply towards electricity because panels are way good beyond 25 years now. The equipment, like you said earlier, has come a long way.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about homeowners or talk directly to homeowners. And I'm going to bring this way down. I'm going to start off simple. And I don't know. I mean, I know things that are probably wrong. So for a homeowner who knows almost nothing about solar, how does a residential solar actually work?
It's Yeah, if you're thinking through the mind, everyone naturally will think through their own mind, their own scenario, their own outcome. And so anyone listening to this podcast, I challenge you to think about it like this. Uh, every home in America is going to need electricity for at least the next 30 to 40, 50. I would argue way more years than that. And so every utility company, local cooperative, like in the DFW area, a lot of that area is Encore, and which means it's like a deregulated, it's kind of like a state-owned utility system. And then they have small utilities outside the DFW Metroplex in Dallas Fort Worth, where they're like local like utilities owned by the public
Yeah.
and called a co-op. And so every utility, every commission votes every maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years on what the rules are for how friendly they are to solar. Some utilities, for example, out in California, they used to pay you a ton for your electricity. Now they don't pay you anything, which reverts homeowners to having to get storage so you can produce the power. The grid says we ain't like these utility companies said, we're not giving you any credit for all that. Why? Because we want the credit. And so they'll
Right.
take your neighbor, they'll sell that electricity to neighbors. And so in markets like California and in certain markets in Texas, we use batteries we panels to collect the energy, then you have to store it somewhere. You either store it on the grid and sell back electricity. Every utility is different, or based on your utility, and we help you navigate this, but is understand, okay, if your utility is friendly, then you don't need a battery. If it's not friendly and they're just charging you a lot, then you're gonna want to kill two birds with one stone and get like the silent generator, the Tesla battery to like store that power and give you an off-grid experience where you're not needing to be connected to anybody in case of an emergency. You'll always stay connected to everyone in solar in America stays with the utility company, even with solar, even with batteries. They stay there as like a reserve backup. You never go off grid. You can, but you always stay connected to the grid because that's how they set it up state to state.
So what is the homeowner paying for on their actual electric bill each month?
Good question. Again, every utility is slightly different, but it's usually just the meter fee. For
Hmm.
example, and with Dallas, like with Encore, for example, it's usually like 10 to 15 bucks a month. And that's just for the meter that's on the side of the house already. It's like
Yeah.
like you need that in case, God forbid, it was cloudy, dark, the sun never came out, and like you wouldn't want to lose electricity. You always stay connected to the grid. Um, and so, but you'll always pay at least a base fee, which is 10 to 20 bucks a month.
Okay. And so are they renting power off the electric grid versus solar panels? Is that a good way to think about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. In the fork of uh consumerism, you're either producing electricity on your land
Hmm.
or you're consuming it and getting it from maybe 200 miles away, shipped instantaneously through power lines. But in either way, at the end of the month, there's a cost, there's a fee, there's something there. And so a lot of
Hmm.
families in certain instances are able to say, hey, I get a lot of sunshine on my land or on my house or on my roof. I want to work with a good solar installer to put 29 panels or 48 panels on my roof and net zero my bill. And then just like there's different structures you can do a solar loan where you take out a loan and buy all the equipment at once and have a payment. You can pay for all of the system cash, like with a check, and then you have no payments, and you've
Hmm.
invested into your home. And then the third route has become the most popular, Nate, and that's what they call solar subscriptions, where these really large financial institutions will buy the panels for you and they'll put them on your roof at no cost to you, and then you get a reduced price of electricity indefinitely. And so and then
Wow.
you make a payment to them. It's not a lien, it's not a loan, doesn't affect your debt to income ratio. It's a really easy way to say yes. And the only alternative is to say, no, I don't really like payments. I don't like paying for things monthly, but they're already paying for electric monthly anyway. So that's really shifted the market because it's really easy to say yes to a solar lease now, understanding how much you're already paying each year and that solar can, without taking any money out of one's pocket, can save you. every month instantly.
So I imagine the solar technology is just leaps and bounds year over year improving. What would you say were the biggest improvements? I don't know, say maybe 10 years ago to where we are today.
Um, the panel production, like each panel's been able to produce around like 20 to 30% more than it used to in the last 10 years. But the world's attention, Nate, right now is really focused on collecting. We figured out how to capture it, but now we're
Yeah,
figuring out how do we store it so that AI and these insane things that are going on in society right now, the price of AI is driving up electricity in every
yeah,
market silently, and we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg yet. Like it really, it's a big shift that's coming in the next 3 to 5 years that is it's a necessity for every home, so they're going to
yeah.
make their money.
Wow. Yeah, and I think I don't know of any scenario with solar where that the saving is it's significant to where you would look at that and go, I think I'll stay with my electrical bill. You know that's going to go up. I mean, it is going up. Okay. Tell me about the batteries. This I don't know anything about the batteries. I've seen a Tesla battery on a wall one time. I was like, what am I looking at?
Mhm.
This I always thought was a game changer for residential homes because not only are you making power, now you got a place for it. How
Mhm.
long is there? How long can you run off that battery? Is that the right question? I don't know anything about the batteries.
Yeah. Yeah. Batteries are a lot like our cell phones. For example,
Yeah.
if the electricity went out, let's go let's get radical for a second. Let's say there was a national power outage. And all we had was one cell phone charge left. You would want to
Hmm.
use that. Maybe you got one charge a day. You would want to use that cell phone very frugally. You wouldn't want to have every light on in the house, running the AC, streaming stuff from your phone. It would drain the battery quick. And so batteries, I've had clients that get 2, 3, 4 Tesla Powerwalls, all leased, so no money out of their pocket, and they will serve as a whole home generator. But you need a certain amount of solar panels placed in the right direction to catch that sunlight and recharge the batteries every day. But
Yeah.
one Tesla Powerwall will take care of, with paired with solar panels, can take care of your refrigerator, your garage door opener, the lights in your home, your security system, and pretty much everything minus the AC and like things that just electronically draw an insane amount of power. Washers, dryers, hair dryers, they just draw so much energy that
Yeah.
one battery should take care of the entire house for just the essentials, we call them. But if you want to run AC, you're going to need at least 2 or 3 batteries. And they come they're warranted, they're covered, and then you track everything from an app on your phone, which has become pretty intuitive. They make it really easy. It's not a difficult process. Um,
Hmm.
you can see right here, they just have like an app that shows you, hey, this is how much your system is producing. This is how much it's the Tesla app. And so it's a very cool, intuitive. It's not like we're hoping that it works. The science has come a really long way.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. All right. So as a lender, I can tell you I've gone to do refis with people. They've called me and said, hey, Nate, I need to do a refinance on my home. I want to free up some money. My daughter's getting married. We're going on vacation, what have you. And I pull their credit and there's a lien sitting right there on their credit. There's a second lien on their house for solar panels, and I'll ask them about it, and they'll swear up and down that they do not have a lien on their property or a second lien. And that is oftentimes the first time they ever find that out is from me. And that's the bearer of bad news. it's workable on a loan. I can totally work around that. But to them, it's a bad surprise. So you mentioned it. I just want to hit on it again about liens or about solar panels and what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really just the industry as a whole. The original solar programs they needed, there was skepticism with these lenders. So they would say, hey, we're going to tie this sucker to a tax lien on your home to where we're going to make sure that if you sell your home, we're getting our money. And so that was the original solar loan program, including deposits and stuff back in the day. And around 2018, 2017, 2018, there was new programs put into place, zero down loans and solar subscriptions that do not place a tax lien on a home. They do something called a UCC one filing, which is like a mechanic's lien, which gives us being the lender slash installer, the right, if you did not pay for your solar equipment, we have the legal right not to come get your house, but to ding your credit and to come get the equipment. But there's no reason that someone would default on that because the equipment is solid and you're not adding a new payment to your portfolio. You're just redirecting your current $200 electric bill to a fixed $160 solar payment. So it's not like going to the mall and getting a new payment for something. It's a very simple process, but a lot of solar sales representatives, when solar was doing its first big push, young men and women were maybe uninformed on the industry, and they were like, oh, no, it definitely doesn't do that. Homeowners didn't read it, they were misled. And then come escrow time, there was like, hey, by the way, and there's certain instances where it's like, well, what happens if the next home buyers don't see the value in it? Then there's something has to happen. So there's someone's got to give. And so the industry has shifted, and what SolarLink's like main purpose is doing is partnering with real estate agents, mortgage professionals, and helping navigate that experience to where you understand the benefits of solar and not just being told you better take on this solar lease or this solar loan or else you got to pay it off. And then there's some weird like obviously every home that you're purchasing is going to come with an associated energy cost. And so if it's
Mm,
installed by the right company, structured in a reasonable price, then it's like a feature. It's a benefit to have solar, to be grandfathered in with tax incentives, etc., versus to be just told, no, you don't, this home has no features. You just better pay whatever they say. Oh, and by the way, you're spending 5 grand a year in electricity. And the homeowner's like, dang, well, that's kind of outside of our budget. But if you can get a better, really good solar lease locked in, grandfathered in, it's a feature. And the market, energy.gov, Zillow, not my opinion, but the data suggests that future home
yeah.
buyers prefer to have lower energy costs. And
Yeah.
uh and so it's definitely a big trend in the market that is just people, mortgage loan officers, real estate agents are having to unlearn, hey, I did have a negative experience several times in 2015, 2020, or whatever because of these repercussions. But what's happening now
Right.
is people are realizing it's a good thing. It is the future. It's not going anywhere. There's no fourth option, third option with windmills all over your roof. It's like a
Right.
very structured, realistic future.
You mentioned home buyers and what market trends on what they're looking for, or like to see in new homes or that they're about to purchase. What is the value to the homeowner to get solar in terms of the value of their property? Obviously, they're going to free up a lot of their money that's committed to paying an electric bill, but someday they may move, and or somebody's going to, they may sell that home. What would that mean? What could possibly be of value to them now?
It's um it's a really interesting topic because it depends, everything always comes down to money. And so it depends how
Hmm.
you structure it, whether it's a solar loan, solar lease, or you pay cash for it. But ultimately, uh there is the data Zillow, Redfin, Energy.gov, they say it sells, your home sells 20% faster on the market for 4 to 7% premium if it's installed with a reputable installer that's still in business and not two random guys in a truck. And so
Yeah.
there's a caveat there. And ultimately, even if everything's done perfect, and a solar sales rep may be biased to tell you one way or another, but the reality is, just like anything in life, there is a perceived value that essentially I believe that like it really needs to be articulated. That's why SolarLink has such I believe, a vital role in the future of the industry because we need to, we don't do any charges for this, but like we need to be able to take that call 5 years later. If I was a sales rep for a client and 5 or 6 years later he needs to sell his house, you need to be working with a professional that's in this space that can help you navigate this conversation, talking to the next home buyers to say, here's what they were. And we advise all of our clients to keep their old bills, keep their new bills. And part of what we try to explain is like to be able to articulate the savings that has happened already in the future and what's to come versus just being told, oh yeah, you have to take on this solar loan or this solar lease, or I paid
Mhm.
$58,000 for that. And the next homeowner may say, like theoretically may say, well, I don't know anything about solar, so I ain't paying for that. And that's usually where the heart posture comes from. So they need to, every homeowner, I would suggest, and or like everyone should have like a prepared plan for explaining, hey, this house literally does not have an electric bill. It has a fixed cost for solar, or if you do pay cash for your system, hey, this system is literally, you can pull up your app. It's producing $2,740 of electricity every year, and I have proof and I have a contract and it's still under warranty. And
Mhm.
so but it's usually the negative experiences have just come from a realtor that is unfamiliar with solar and a surprise at escrow. And then it's like becomes the wild, wild west shoot off. And usually the seller usually ends up losing that if there's no articulation as to how solar is benefiting. And so there's
Wow.
the raw truth,
Yeah.
the
Well, I
good,
can
the
tell
bad, the
you
ugly.
on the lending side, when lenders do their debt to income calculations and doing some ratios, their housing ratio, there's a maximum amount a person can afford to pay on paper, right? What that number could be, but it doesn't factor in your cable bill, your phone bill, your electric bill, your water bill, all these other things. And so for a home buyer, the solar panel option, if you're buying a house that's already got solar panels, you're getting an unrealized savings that's not factored into your mortgage payment. Um, VA, that's a different animal. So if you go down the VA loan route, the VA wants to know if the home has solar panels. Because the VA loans, they do an analysis of your family expenses, and there's an opportunity there uh, for some significant savings and in qualifying for a loan on the VA route if anybody is a veteran or active duty. Just we can talk about that some other time. That may be a whole podcast. Um, One last thing from the homeowner's perspective, what does it do to the roof? I really was like, oh, I don't want that on my roof. I don't want it to damage my roof because roof insurance and what have you. So,
Yeah, it is. That is another huge caveat as to who's doing the physical construction. Solar is a construction project. You need to make sure that you're dealing with a local contractor or a contractor that is willing to put things in writing and understand
mhm.
nobody's perfect. I've worked with some of the best solar construction companies in America. There are still mistakes. Just like whenever you're building a home, there's going to be flaws and mistakes eventually. And so it is worth making sure that you know what your protections are. And so the solar install, the technology itself has come so far where they tie into the truss of the roof. They usually do a 10 to 25-year warranty on the like weather tight ceiling. And it really has become an easy if it's your first, say Nate, you and I were brand new to solar. We bought a pickup truck and some panels, and we got licensed and started installing. It may be our first time installing panels, so we may have a few. Oops, oh, I gotta fix that and this. But when you're
Yeah.
dealing with a contractor and like certified W-2 in-house teams that are like really good at what they do, and this is what they do for a living, and they put their name behind it, then you're in a space where the solar installs are designed and all the equipment, the flashing and the mounts have been designed for longevity. They're literally designed to not have an installer chasing their tail. It's so solid now that as long as the install is done the right way, there's not a lot of moving parts in solar. And once you double
Mm,
seal, you caulk the inside, the outside, and you use the right equipment, it's a good roof. Like that sucker is hurricane proof, and it is with the and it's designed to last long term. It in synopsis, you definitely want to make sure you're dealing with a good construction team that can handle that.
uh,
And then secondly, as far as hailstorms, which is big in the DFW area, there are uh there's a big line in the sand as to whose panels are they. With solar subscriptions, which is the most popular route in America, these lenders will take insurance policies on their own panels because they own the panels on your roof. And so
yeah.
hailstorm, tornado, anything, hurricanes, whatever, those are taken under the lender's umbrella policy. But if you
Oh,
take a solar loan out and you maybe find your own financing or you pay cash, that is your panels. Those are your panels. That's your asset. You need to add that to homeowners insurance, which is totally normal, just like anything you would.
mm,
And so, but that's a big part of why so many people choose the leasing route because they're like, hey, I get to save money. It's not a loan. It's not a lien on the house. And I just sell energy that's produced from the panels and I get a lower locked in rate and I can share power with the grid and get benefits right away.
yeah.
It transfers if you move just like you would transfer your electric bill. And so that's been probably the most popular route. But no matter what, in my opinion, and kind of financially speaking, if you look at what your house is currently spending and then you're be honest with yourself, am I gonna if I am I moving this year, am I moving next year, am I staying in this house forever? A lot of Texans like to stay where they're at and like hunker down and build with friends and family, especially in the more rural areas. And so it's like you should really, there's no one size fits all, leasing's the best or cash is the best. Every family has a little bit different goals. And so
Right.
there's a benefit to really having an authentic conversation without the pressure to really think about where am I at? I didn't written the one of the biggest things that I've found in my 8 years, Nate, is that so many people just stick it on auto pay, shrug their shoulders, and just say it is what it is. And they weren't aware that there's actual alternatives that legitimately make sense, even if you're not going to be in
Wow.
the home long term. And so
Right.
a lot of families aren't realizing that their $300 bill is 3,600 a year and they've been living there for 10 years. So it's at least $36,000. And then they wonder, oh, how much is solar? Well, it's like, well, it's cheaper than what you're paying now under the
Wow.
assumption you get good sun. And so it's a big psychological rewiring operation for some families to unlearn some of the behaviors they've always thought that you just pay your electric bill because you're supposed to.
Right. And y'all at SolarLink will put together tailored I always call them tailored mortgage plans. Solar, you'd put together tailored solar plans right for that family's, right for that home. It's no cookie cutter deal. Nice. Let's quickly, I'll go through some financial questions with you, just kind of get a pulse on that. Maybe this will dispel some rumors too, or some bad information. Homeowners assume solar requires huge upfront costs. Is that true today?
Not anymore. It is 98% of the time, 99% families that you see in lower income neighborhoods, high income neighborhoods, they pay $0 for their solar system up front. And then they have a payment that is more affordable than their current energy bill.
Wow. When someone says solar sounds expensive, how do you respond?
The most expensive route is not taking a look at your options because the reality is like it is what's really expensive is renting forever and then handing off an outrageous energy bill to your kids or your grandkids and not
Hmm.
parking your money where your most valuable asset is, which is your home.
So, how can a homeowner determine whether solar would actually save them money? Good conversation with you.
Yeah. I mean, lots of good solar companies out there. I'd love to have the opportunity to share the good, the bad, the ugly, and do like a personalized design. Because to your point earlier, a lot of husbands and wives say, "Hey, I do not want them on the front of my house. You can put them on the sides, or you can put them on my garage." And that's totally doable. But it's really cool to work with the homeowner through like a Zoom screen share or by sending them photos and saying, "Hey, do you like this design? Do you want them on the front? Do you want them on the sides?
Yeah,
You need 40 panels, but we can really comfortably fit 30." That should get rid of like most of your bill most months out of the year. Is that something that you're open to? And a lot of the times they're like, sure. Yeah, if they don't want to quote unquote see them on the front or the back of their house. And so we really we our solar software knows where the sun is hitting year round. It works with Google Sunroof, but you'll most homeowners know. They know if their roof is getting crushed by sun and they can collect it or not. And if they're ever in
yeah.
between, they could obviously give us a call either way.
Is there a situation for a homeowner where it might not make sense to do
Oh yeah.
solar?
Yeah, I remember when we took a look, I believe it was your family, right, Nate?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
looked and in the instance where maybe a man wants to make sure that he can his house, no matter what, World War III or whatever, is good on his own. He could chop trees down or build a garage. We have people build pergolas, carports, and then we put panels on there. But I remember in your instance, there was a lot of trees on the property, and the roof access just didn't get as much sun. And
yeah.
so somebody would really have to have the desire to trim back some trees and get some access to make that investment.
Right. Can I think you just answered this. Solar panels, can you put them anywhere? Like, say, I've got land, 5 acres. Could I put them out there? We just build a pergola and stick them on that, or is there a platform you could install and do solar that way? Or
Yeah, they have something called ground mounts, which are like steel structures that will build. They do add to the cost as it naturally would. It is a great option for Texans that, for example, that want to, or Floridians that want to put it on their garage or for the ground mounts. If you have 5 acres, you can put it out in your land, and then you'll have
Mhm.
that ability to number one, keep it off the roof, but number two, will trench over to your meter, and we get to point them in the perfect direction. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
definitely a really good
All right.
option for some families. Great questions, by the way.
So and we talked about yeah, nice. I like that. I know some people that they don't want to put in their house either. So and honestly, I think in their neighborhood they may not be able to with their HOA, but on the back side of their house, no problem. I've noticed that in a few newer home developments out here. They got all the solar on the backside. Um, are there any tax incentives? And this may change with one Congress to the next, but currently in 2026, are we looking at any kind of incentives or government programs, maybe federal or state?
Yeah, there are at the end of 2025. So to this date, we're in May 12th. So about 6 months ago, there was a 30% tax credit for purchasing solar. And so that actually, with this administration, has come to an end. Those funds were repurposed. And so what's changed recently is that same 30% tax credit is actually available through the leasing program because hundreds of millions of dollars of equipment was purchased before that tax deadline hit. And so for the next several years, these lenders have this equipment already tax credit applied, which is why solar leases are the most viral way to get energy right
Wow.
now through the subscription model, zero down subscription. And so that is, and then just on a minor market, some utilities and some states still offer state incentives.
Hmm.
But for example, in the DFW area, people are just doing the solar leases where they get that full benefit of the tax credit applied to the subscription, and they just get a low monthly rate for their energy.
Wow. Let's talk about the future. Crystal ball time. Where do you think we are in 10 years?
Um, I know for sure we're still using electricity. And I know for
Yeah.
sure the way that these investor-owned utility companies, if you have investors that pour money and invest into you have to, not legally, but you basically have to show profit or else they pull their money,
Hmm.
an investor would. And so I see the price of energy going up over the next 10 years, as it has
Yeah.
been, especially with the demand as with electric vehicles and more homes built now than ever before and more AI, just real serious shortage of energy, which will drive the price up. But I
Yeah.
definitely will. There's been 5 million Americans, Nate, that have gone solar already. And the data suggests in the next 10 years, there will be at least a double in that. So it's taken almost 50 years to get to 5 million. And they're suggesting in the next 5 years, we will be able to double that to around 10 million homeowners that are benefiting every day from the free sunshine that's hitting their roof. They just have to be able to collect it.
Yeah.
And so I definitely see that. I see the cost of solar potentially going up because lending and supply and demand. Once people really realize that there is limited windows, I hope that more tax benefits come out, but like there is a very small 3-year window right now where families can enroll and into a program like this with zero out of pocket and just get really favorable, like literal financial no-brainer if your
Uh-huh.
roof is a good fit. But I could definitely see it in the future being still very lucrative because you're developing an asset. You're going from renting to some sort of ownership. Even if you're leasing the panels, it's structured as a lease to own. And so it's I definitely see mass adoption, like in the curve of America's decision-making process. The more that
Hmm.
solar goes on roofs, and if you go through a neighborhood in California, you will literally see in most regular suburban areas, more houses have solar than don't have solar. And so out of
True.
100 homes, there's 70 of them that have solar. And so it's not
Yeah.
like a trending thing. It's like, no, it's literally illegal to build a house without solar in California now. And it's not a political thing. It's like an energy shortage thing. And so
Sure.
that's happening all across America right now. There's whole subdivisions in Florida here where I live, where every house in the neighborhood is prefabricated construction built ready with solar panels on it already. And it's just a feature that builders are doing now.
Wow. That's a nice hedge against the future. I mean,
It helps.
solar panels and hold on your money.
Yeah,
Go put it in the
it
S&P
certainly helps.
500 or something.
Yeah,
So,
it's all an investment. And usually most men and women that I speak with, it always comes down to the pennies and the dollars and does it literally make sense or not? And
yeah,
if they are, we're usually able to earn their business in a trustworthy manner. And so, but there's just because it makes sense doesn't mean that everyone's going to sign up for it. I've learned that.
yeah. Oh, I get that. I get that in the lending world too.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes on those refis, look, just because you can drop the rate doesn't necessarily mean it's a good deal for you. But if I can show you how much of your monthly income is liberated, you know, three, four, $500 a month, that's a big win
Huge.
on one's income when they're looking at life, date, night, movies, the other bills. But then you're doing the exact same thing in the solar space, where they're not having to commit a large chunk of money each month, especially, I don't know, down here in the South, Texas, Florida.
It's
It
hot.
gets warm.
Yeah.
It's so,
And it's interesting, Nate, because I'll close out with this. It's just most families, for some reason in America, have just accepted what they've been shown. And so solar is nobody really casually chats about their electric bill. And so it's an authentic way to genuinely just have one quick conversation, phone, Zoom, or really get some good counseling and guidance on
yeah,
it. But it is electricity. It doesn't normally come up in a combo. So when you think about it, you're like, I've been thinking about it, but I never even talked about it. So tell me about
yeah.
it. And so it's good to be able to serve in that capacity.
Yeah, it is. Well, all right, Daniel, thank you for your time. Real quick, what's the best way if someone wants to go deeper in solar and form a professional relationship with you? What's the best way that they can do that?
Yeah, it's definitely recommend either just the old school ways, emails or text. My email address is Daniel at SolarLink, SOLAR link LINK pro.com, or just text me at 985-373-1295, and uh I look forward to, at least I always share options. I am not going to force it upon someone, but when they do look at it, they are certainly uh grateful that they at least have a game plan, because electricity is a sneaky cost. You can think
Mm-hmm.
about principals and interest and taxes and insurance, but it's just one of those things where you didn't think your bill was going to be 300 a month or 200 a month. And when you add it up year over year, and then you notice these little inflation increases, you're like, wait a second, I'm spending how much?
Yeah,
$4,000 a year can be that's enough for a
that's a
vacation.
vacation.
That is. That's
Yeah,
it.
I like how you
That's it.
think.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, what can I do to pay for the next vacation? There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this was fascinating. I love it. Folks, I'm going to put links down below, wherever you're listening to or watching to this podcast. Daniel, thanks again, for being on Between Two Doors, and we'll do this again. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Nate. I'm looking forward to just being able to service and these questions in this industry. It's exciting because it's not going anywhere. And so electricity is a really a great thing to be secure in. Families will get security systems for prevention. And so solar has really become a prevention from being stuck without energy. And so thank you for your time, Nate. God bless you, brother. And I appreciate you having me